Yeah,
You can hear me?
I can hear you fine. I didn't know if there's an echo or anything.
I don't hear myself, so that we don't have that problem on Zoom. You just sound like you're on Zoom, so because
Yeah,
you
well, I got my microphone and stuff sitting out in the kitchen. I just don't know how long that would take me to set it up.
when you asked me, I was like, oh, that he does not want to go through that process today, for sure. Does not want to do that.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's not that difficult. It would be you and I sitting here for 10 minutes trying to figure out what I need to switch a button to get the settings to work. That's all it ever.
100%.
So, F that.
How long has it been since it was set up?
Since we recorded Hot Butter Podcast.
But recorded remotely.
Right. So 3 years ago, probably, maybe even longer.
Yeah, there's not a chance in hell that you were going to dust that thing off tonight and get it plugged in, have it work just right. Not a chance.
No, but it's funny because it's sitting in the kitchen because we just cleaned in here and it's going down. Bye bye. And I'm like, oh, I might need to use that.
What do you mean it's going down? Bye bye.
It's going down to the basement because it's been sitting under this desk. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
day I had the exam, I had to empty out this whole room and like show her the room
Oh, really?
so that there was nothing in here.
You're serve safe?
Yeah, all that stuff was gone. Had to be
Crazy.
completely cleaned off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, it worked.
But the fuck that ass. What?
Oh, wow. I have to edit that out. You don't care that I'm recording video, do you?
No,
Good.
no, I don't. I think it's a blessing for everyone to be able to see me.
It
Honestly.
is. It's true. It's part of the whole reason. Are you wearing an Ice Cube shirt?
Oh
Like the
yeah,
rapper? Oh, yeah. Today was a good day.
$7.
Nice.
I like to go to Walmart and look at the spinning things. It's like three spinning little racks, and they're all $8 shirts. They used to be six. Fucking Walmart bumped it up to $2 because what, they're not making enough money
Thanks a
on
lot, Obama.
us poor people. But um, I like to look through like the racial shirts are my favorite. I think I'm not so like a lot of them are like Pokemon or like some kind of weird like I'm not saying Japanese is like a racist thing, but like Japanese like symbols, like probably some TV show that I'm not into, like Bukaki or something. So I don't do. I like to look through the strictly like they've got 80s and 90s racial, like or not racial, ethnic shirts.
Okay, I was gonna say, what is so racist about
I don't
them?
know why I keep saying racial. So like I like to look. You got your Wienerlicious shirt
I
on.
do have my Wienerlicious shirt on.
Fucking amazing.
That
So
fine food
the black
establishment.
shirts, the African shirts, the ethnic shirts. That I'll even get a Japanese one if it makes sense to me. Like if it's nostalgic.
Listen, when you say African shirt, I think Zimbabwe. I think
African American.
yeah, but oh, I gotcha.
So like they're
It is
American.
African American. That is that's not African American. Oh my
No,
god.
I love black. My brother's black. My brother-in-law is black. I'm
Yeah,
not. That's what he's mocha. He's
yeah.
red, whatever. It's a color, and I'm what am I? I'm sorry, but I'm the one that's lacking color.
You
You know
are
what I
lacking
mean? I'm
color.
the one that's shit on.
Mhm.
So I love you all. I love everybody. White, red, black, blue, brown, green eyes. Everybody nine.
Yep. So you say that you like the ethnic shirts, the shirts that weren't made for you.
Tradition.
However, you have been drawn to some Reba shirts and some Dolly Parton shirts, and those were absolutely targeted for you.
Yeah, but like I said, so it's like it's that era of I
Yeah.
listened to Dolly Parton back then, but I remember her tits. You know what I mean? Like when I think
Mhm.
back, like, to me, Dolly Parton, I didn't know enough about her music to care about her. I
Yeah.
knew that she had beautiful breasts, and boy was she gorgeous. So when I look at that shirt, I go, she's still hot. She's like 110 years old right now, and I'd still
Yeah.
get that. I'd put my face right in it.
Right in it.
You can't even, and then you do a sloppy motorboat afterwards. Like she's Dolly fucking Parton, and she's a babe. So yes. Anyways, uh, I don't. Are we starting the podcast or is this just like sound check?
This is on. We're on.
Well, so I just my Dolly shirt might have just got ruined because I just saw a video popped up on my Instagram and it was a gigantic lady tucking her shirt under her tits and she had my Dolly shirt on and I'm like, man, see that's the problem. Those $6 Walmart shirts can bite you in the ass because I'm not the only one buying those $6 shirts.
I've seen that dolly shirt a lot of places and a
Yeah,
lot of different people.
I might be the only white male that's 39 years
I've
old.
definitely never seen it on another man. Yeah, that's for sure.
Funny you say that because I have only seen it on women.
Only women.
Why is that?
I think most men are not comfortable enough in their own skin to outwardly convey their adoration for such an icon.
Yeah.
So they want to keep it inside and not admit that they're Dolly Parton fans. And or they're like, you know what, I got $6 and I ain't spending it on a Dolly shirt.
Listen, I am not buying clothes at this time in my life anymore that, first of all, are hanging with a stripe on them. If they have a stripe or a checker, I probably ain't buying.
Why is it? Well, hold on. Why?
Because I'm not like a Puma. I'm not like a like a Ben Hoffman or some kind of fucking guy's name who hangs their shirts up. I'm gonna get it from a folded up rack and it might have a hole in it for $6. Hold on. Is this not okay for a hunting pie? There's no deer on the wall. Should I go get some deer?
Oh, no, it's fine. What's back there?
I'm looking for my antler.
Oh,
The one that's like this big.
yeah.
At least put my shed up. From 2 years ago.
So tell me again, who's Ben Hoffman?
Ben Hogan. I don't like, like the guys like
Golf guy. Ben Hogan.
You know who always has Mark Cuban, not Mark Cuban, not Pitbull. Mark. He was married to Jennifer Lopez. Skinny guy.
Mark Anthony.
Yeah, he's always got those
Mark
shirts.
Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just not I'm not that guy anymore. Like, I know I bought a Mark Anthony shirt before, and I don't know what I was trying to prove to myself, but I'm not in a real estate office and I ain't wearing tight pants anymore. If anything, I just bought oversized shorts and they're the best things I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I sat down at soccer today, my nuts weren't wedged up so tightly packed into my shorts, like that picture you posted of my moose knuckle. Like,
yeah, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, so I can't do that anymore. I've decided that I'm going to go up a size, and it might be a little big on my waist. So instead of 36s, you get 38s, and they're not nut huggers when you sit down.
Right. What's interesting about the iPhone is you have the ability within your photo albums, to look for certain people that your phone has identified throughout the years that you have repeated pictures of. And because Adam's my brother, I have a lot of pictures of him. And so on his birthday, I scrolled down to the album with Adam's face on it and I poked it. And all the pictures that my phone found of Adam's face came up. Honestly, 95% were fun pictures. There wasn't a lot of serious pictures. There wasn't a lot, like your wedding was in there. Couple where you were holding my kids when they were little and your kids when they were little. But most of them were wonderful and uplifting for the spirits for your birthday post the other day. And the moose knuckle one was just a coincidence. No one knows that was you. You just admitted it.
No, so back in the day when I was managing restaurants, I used to have to do a pre-opening meeting every day. So we opened at 4:00, and at 3:30, boom, all the servers were sitting in this one room, and I'd sit at a table in front of them, and it was a high top. And I remember one day, this kid Kenny, he goes, "Man, I can see right under that table, and your balls are just smooched in those shorts." I'm like, I know. It's always been a problem. It doesn't help that I got I don't know what you would even call it. It's like, it's not dwarfism, but the opposite. Gigantism.
Elephantitis
Of my sack. My testicles are also big. I'm sorry for this if this is going to be aired on your podcast, but you're not. But my testicles are bigger. They're not like little bird egg balls, but my sack itself, you could cut probably a 20-inch by 10-inch strip of skin out, and I'd still have extra. Like, my sack is, so when I sit down,
you say 20 by 10,
like this, by this, a strip of skin graft testicle skin.
That is not possible. There's no possible way. It was way overly dramatized.
I just look at it in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like a extra hang down, like it looks like a labia.
Oh boy.
So I'm just saying.
Are you gonna want me to cut that out? Because I don't plan to cut that out. Leave that in there.
That's fine. It's up to you. It's not my podcast anymore.
Welcome everybody to episode 29 of Angel Road Outdoors, the podcast. I'm your host, Brad, and I am joined this evening by my little brother, the 40-year-old virgin, Adam. How you doing, Adam?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me this evening.
I'm not a virgin.
The 40-year-old surgeon.
The 40-year-old sturgeon.
That was what I wanted to take down. The 40-year-old be splurging.
Yeah, I'm freshly 40. And I think the best thing is that I feel like I had struggled with 30 a lot. And I don't know why. I did not struggle with 40. I think I was just happy that I got there. Because 40 is not that old.
Alive?
It's just it's like, holy shit, at least I've made it to 40. And at this point, I feel like it's free game. Whatever happens, happens. Like if I die at 45, 40 was an okay marker.
I didn't know that about you.
That's how I feel right now. 39, 38 would have been young to die.
Just because it had a 3 in it?
Yeah, like I think you've got to get to 4 because 78 is the adult male average. So if you get to 40, you're past halfway.
So you did better than average?
I did better than half an average. So I'm just saying that's how I feel. I don't feel any older. I don't feel any different. I feel, like shit like normal.
That's so fucking depressing. It is. It's depressing in a lot of ways. It's depressing because you just said, if I die now, at least I made it more than halfway past the median age or the halfway point of the median age of life expectancy for males.
It's a good feeling.
What is? Making it to 40?
Yeah, because to be content with the life that you've lived, because I feel like I've lived 100-year-old life.
Really?
So like feeling content with where you are.
Okay. I'm following now.
I'm not. I don't have any fear of like, holy shit, I'm in my 40s. I'm basically dying. I mean, I'm dying soon.
You're saying you don't have that feeling?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna feel like, wow, man, I'm really getting close to like death. I remember my dad's 40th birthday.
Yeah.
I'm knocking on the, I could die any day now. It's normal. Like 45-year-olds have heart attacks every day. Whatever.
Every day?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Probably.
I mean, that seems like a lot. And I guess I don't. Maybe 45-year-olds do have heart attacks every day. I feel like a lot of 45-year-olds today maybe get to having heart attacks because they chose to be vaccinated and therefore are suffering the consequences of some peer pressured decisions. But I don't know. I wouldn't normally say that a lot of 45-year-olds have heart attacks.
I just don't know. I think that that's what I hear a lot of. I think that it happens every day.
You just brought up an interesting point that again, happy birthday to Adam. We just celebrated Adam's 40th birthday that he had last Friday, and we celebrated with all of our family down in Ann Arbor. We went to a restaurant, and we were talking about the fact that we remember our dad's 40th birthday, and it was held at a restaurant/bar that was owned by a parent of a child that was on my hockey team. The fine establishment was called Rhino's Pub and Grub.
Also, his nickname.
His nickname was Rhino. So his name was Ryan Sinks. If anybody knows how to get in touch with Ryan Sinks, please let me know. I'm curious as to what Rhino is up to these days. But anyway, Rhino's Pub and Grub was a frequent place that we would go to after hockey. We would get pizza, and the parents would drink and smoke till the wee hours of the morning. And typically fucking hammered. And we would watch a lot of Mike Tyson fights at Rhino's Pub and Grub. I remember that for some reason.
And I was too young to remember that.
I also remember that we would have to stop on the way home because mom and dad were so hammered that dad would have to pee in a parking lot. and they were driving us home fucking hammered.
Yep.
I
Mhm.
remember that. Anyway, my dad's 40th, and he was brought in with his buddies, and everybody was there. It was a surprise 40th birthday party, and all of his gifts were like overly dramatic and exaggerated gifts to identify you are now old as fuck, like a walker with a horn on it, like a honky horn for your kid's bicycle, like Beano and bandages and stool softeners and laxatives and digestive enzymes and blue blockers and all the shit that an old person would need. But today, Adam, you and I are both now over 40 years old. Do
Mhm.
you really feel old though?
I don't at all, but I don't know if that's because mentally I'm still 21.
Do you think dad was also mentally still 21 at that time? Because
That's a
what we
weird.
just said makes it seem like maybe they were.
Oh, I'm sure.
They were drinking and smoking and partying like crazy at 40, and I can't even imagine doing that.
I almost feel like it wasn't much of a thought back. I don't think it was thought about as much back then as it is now. Maybe it was,
Like
but
what you're doing to yourself.
yeah, like when I think about like a lot of people around me don't drink anymore. You as
Mhm.
one of them. A lot of like there's a lot of health watching. There's a lot of like, you know, you talk about like our bodies don't feel great
Mhm.
and I don't know if times have just changed and our bodies aren't, have been beat up over the years because of what we're eating
Yeah.
and we're poisoned basically every day is how I feel. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that was back then. I feel like it was just people had more fun.
It's interesting. There's a lot of things that people didn't have back then. There was no social media, there was no cell phones, there was no the internet was around when dad turned 40. Um I would be willing to say that considering how hard they partied, dad's in pretty good shape today.
I think about it all the time when I see people that their age that
Yeah.
are struggling to move.
Yeah.
And our parents are in great shape for being 69 and 68 or whatever they
All
are.
things considered, our parents are in pretty good shape. The fact that dad can golf in a senior golf tour every year even though he has his ailments as an almost 70-year-old man, it's pretty friggin' impressive.
I just don't like the dude has smoked for how many years
Yeah.
and is still just how have you not been to the doctors?
He doesn't want, why would you want to?
Yeah, but how has nothing happened that's been like, dude, you need to get something, you gotta go. Like,
It's genetics, man. I think if you look at our bloodline, it's genetics,
yeah.
which is
Which
both
that was
sides.
the cardiologist appointment I just had on the 25th. That was the number one. I said to him, you guys have been checking my heart and not finding anything. Why hasn't anybody said a single word to me about diet or high cholesterol? Did you check
Mhm.
that? Check my blood? They're like, oh, we don't even really look at that anymore. That means nothing to us. If we were to do an annual physical and you get your blood tested and we tell you you have high cholesterol, that means nothing to us anymore. It's like such a minuscule percent that you can affect your heart. It's all genetics. He's like, it's all genetics and prevention for us. Like, we want you to run maintenance on your body, and it's 100%, 99% genetics.
Do you believe that? Do you
I
believe
do.
it's that high? It's that
Uh,
high percent,
I'm saying
99%.
I'm saying 99. He's
Oh,
basically telling me there that everybody that they deal with, diet it really is never an issue.
mm,
Everybody's diet is okay enough. Whatever we can tell them to do, like nobody, I'm sure, like what I take it as, nobody walks in there and goes, listen, all I eat is trans fats. All
mhm.
meal, every meal, every day, all day. Because that's not the case. So what they're looking at is every issue that they have is the majority of the issues are genetics. So that's what they're looking at nowadays. He said they an annual physical really is almost laughable to them nowadays.
Hmm. That's
So
that's something that I think I'd like to dig into more another time,
yeah,
because I find that number one very bizarre. Anyway, glad you're here. Glad you're 40. Glad you're fit and fabulous. Um, was that like that Dakota guy that we watch on Instagram?
Oh, Kelly can't even watch them. Like she's like, this is I can't. Like, why are you sending me these? I'm like, you. How do you not die laughing?
I studied those for too long the other day because I wanted them to be fake. Like I wanted those guys to be actors so bad.
I don't think so.
They're not. That dude is so gay. He is gayer than gay.
Well, are you talking about the one that would be the woman?
Yeah, I am.
That he's the one that goes ranch.
Ranch. I got
I
a
got
set
my
of
ranch.
ranch in
And then
front of
the
the
other
table.
the male figure in the gay
Yeah.
relationship has got the cleft lip.
Yeah.
Cleft lip. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they are so over the top gay. It's awesome to watch. Like I say awesome to watch. Some people, whatever. I crack up because I wish that I could do my food videos like that.
They're so
But
good.
I can't do it. Like I can't do it because I'm not that. Like
It's so bad that it's so good. I shared it with Adam, thinking that Adam would go, I hate this. But we both love it because of how absurd it is. It's these two lovers that are from the South and they do food reviews. Like they'll go to, for example, an Olive Garden, and then they will talk about what they're wearing, what they got as an appetizer, what they got as an entree, what they got as a drink, and then that's it. It's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds max.
it's the fact that their excitement for life is so grand
Yeah.
that like sometimes I'm like, why? If I did that, you'd call me gay. But why can't I just be that excited for life?
Well, I think you are, and I think we do that here. And I think part of the reason that I like this Angel Road Outdoors Instagram page, Angel Road Outdoors podcast, Angel Road Outdoors videos, is because you and I have an opportunity to remain authentic. A ton of people fake it all the time. And I think the reason that people like engaging with you and I, and this is not a toot toot of our own horns, this is a fact. And I know it's a fact because I've done this for many, many years, and I get all kinds of messages from when we did Hot Butter Podcast to Beefcakes to Angel Road Outdoors. People like that we are authentically idiots. The fact that we say what we want to say, we act how we want to act. Yes, it is immature sometimes, but we don't pull punches, we don't fake it, and people want authenticity. Those two guys, go ahead.
I wouldn't. I don't even like using the word idiots. For me, it's just I'm not trying to. I think I spent a lot of time in my life trying to prove something, and I don't.
Yes.
You could dissect that, and we could go through therapy and figure out what that is. I think it's a natural behavior that humans have.
People want to fit in.
Over time, and I would go back to our dad, and I think that it was, and I was little brother, so I think I was always trying to prove something to my dad, like to be proud of us and all of that shit. So I think for years, and maybe it's even just a natural behavior. I'm at the point in my life where I'm not doing that anymore. Like I'm over doing things for other people, trying to prove something. And even there's parts of hunting that exist in that, because even when I started hunting, it was like I got to prove myself to you guys. And I think that's a thing that still goes on for a lot of different people. And it's like a lot of the sticking your chest out that I see and hear in a lot of the podcasts now are just you got to prove yourself and be this like real like tough guy that hunts. And for me, I really don't give a shit about that anymore, and I'm done trying to like be something that I'm not. And I'm not being an idiot. I'm not trying to not have fun with my life. Like there are things that people may not agree with, but I feel like I'm not conservative in the fact that like I have to wear certain outfits to church. I have to do this and that. I want to be who I am at this point in my life. And I think just whether it's you call me an idiot or not, it is being authentic, but it's just, I don't know. I'm just done trying to prove something.
I heard a quote one day that said something like, I am whatever you say I am.
Whoa, Marshall.
And if I wasn't, then why would I say I am? So I am who I am. and I don't plan on changing anytime soon. I mean, I may create some sort of content that I feel is more appropriate than something else a different time. Like I may very thoughtfully create something strategically that I think is a little more appropriate. And then other times, if this topic maybe is a little more lighthearted, I keep the whole thing lighthearted. But that's different. But that's just me being comfortable doing whatever I want. There are so many people, you made a great point where you said in the beginning when you started to hunt, you felt like you needed to prove yourself to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that because I did the same thing where I felt I had to hunt somebody else's way. And I hope you know that I never meant to give
Oh,
you that sense. And so
you've
if I
said that
did,
before, and it hasn't. It's not even that as much as it is. I think when you're coming in behind people, gross. Um, you guys were so, and hunting is a funny thing. It's a funny thing where I look at hunting very differently. Where even I listen to great podcasts just as you, and we know the same people that are unbelievable people, great hunters. They do awesome things, and it's such a super cool community. But like I feel like I just look through a lot of what hunting is, and hunting to me is a lot of bloat. Um, I think hunting is 90% or more of people getting beat the fuck up and failure over and over again. Yet that 5% of success is all people puff out. And that's all we like. So everybody I look at, originally it was like you look at these people and you're like, I want to be like them because they're all they do is kill big deer.
yeah.
They're working their butts off. And I'm not taking any of that away, but those people fail. The great ones fail just as much as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest ones talk about that. The majority of hunting is this idea behind being a man, and like you're out in the woods and you don't fuck around. You do this, and this. You got your checklist, or else you're not going to do it. You know, there's a lot of puffery, or like I call it peacocking.
Yeah, there's a ton of peacocking.
So I just don't. When I originally started, you dropped me off in the woods. I was like, I've got to figure this out. Not even focusing on the fact that nobody showed me a fucking thing about what hunting is or how to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been more focused on. I need to figure out how to actually hunt. But I was more focused on killing a deer so that I could show you guys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it's all just about. You want to be a man, and you want to be cool, and you want people to be proud of you, and ultimately, you know, it's it should be more about, I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I'm sharing an experience with you,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to be proud of myself.
Yeah. I love it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I love that you got there on your own in your own time because you and I are on different journeys. We are in the same realm, but we're at different stages of our process. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And we may never be on the same page, and that's okay too. As far as what our goals or, like as far as what our goals are, we may be on the same page as where we want to go and how we want to get there for like out of state stuff, but we may never be on the same page as far as how we want to hunt, with what weapon, with what means, and what caliber of an animal. We may never be on that page or on the same page as each other, and we shouldn't have to be.
Well, I don't think it's possible. I think after thinking a lot this year about how, I listen and I study and I do my research, and you and I both have the work ethic that it takes. I think it's just naturally sort of ingrained in us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like as I listen to other people and take notes and I set my goals, you can't do that based on anybody else, because my life is leading me in a direction that is unlike anybody else's. So like you and I could be doing a lot of the same things because we want the same things.
Mm-hmm.
But I just am in a spot and a point in my life where I can't scout all the time. It's just, it's literally impossible. It would ruin my marriage. I wouldn't be able to do my business. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that my life is the way it is, and it has to be that way. Um, and then other people have their, where they can go out in the woods every weekend and scout and be out there for days. And I'm not there yet in my life. So like,
Yeah.
everybody is different. And what, like you always say, when I listen to you on different podcasts, and I think it's key, is as you listen and take notes, you have to pull out what works for you, because
Yes.
not everything will. And if you try and get everything, I found myself overdoing it to where if you try and get all of these things to work for you, I started to feel like I was getting down on myself, because I'm like, oh, I can't get, I haven't been out to scout at all because I'm overwhelmed with life, like
Mm-hmm.
opening the restaurant and hiring a team of people. And then I've got two little kids and they've got sports getting there. It's just, my time in life right now has to be centered around family and
Yep.
business, which allows me to have my time in the woods come hunting season.
When it's time.
Yes. And whenever I can scout, I have to do my best and work my hardest to figure that out then,
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about the amount of time, because time to me doesn't matter. It's how, it's what you put in when you can put it in.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to beat yourself up about how long, how often, and how many miles you do in the woods, or how long you're in the woods scouting, for some people, whether you have the work ethic or not, to want to be a great hunter and a steward of the woods, it will destroy the sport for you.
That's a great statement. You are 100% right. It will ruin it for you if you get too beat up about what you are or are not able to do. Yeah,
So I think,
you're
like,
right.
for me, the point of everything right now, the like the foundation of hunting for me is not all of that stuff. It is the enjoyment of the hunting itself.
The chase.
That's the base. Okay, so if you fully enjoy everything you're doing, then you'll be able to do everything better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I say it about my salads. Like, the reason Salad Fever did really well is because I said, okay, I'm going to design this business around what makes Adam happy. And then I started to do that, and the food was better. So then everybody else was happy. And then my salads started to sell more, and then it gained popularity. And then now I'm getting a chance to sort of do the next step of that.
How's
And
that going, by the way?
good. I've been in my container. It's empty, but my equipment's inside the big building, ready to put in there when it's done, and just waiting for the next trigger to be pulled.
There's a lot of people that might not know about it. Why don't you just do like a little rundown of what you just said? Like, what is Salad Fever and what you got going on?
I'll
Because
just do
some people are new, and some people won't go back and listen to old episodes. Some people might not know who Gene is. Some people might not know where you're going or what you're doing and why life is busy.
Gene, or Genie, is Eugene, uh, of Salad Fever. He's the originator, that from Hot Butter Podcast, our old podcast. It was a skit we did. Gene had salad fever, and he was just like the two dudes we talked about earlier.
Yeah, he
Super
was.
flamboyant and super. He was just super aggressive towards everybody and everything, and salads were the base of that. So the one day, I just said, I wasn't getting good salads anywhere. Like, you go to caterings, you go to parties, and it's all the same shit. It's shitty lettuce, and it's dry, or it's over soggy. Iceberg bullshit. Same salads. You got 4 salad options everywhere you fucking go. Nobody steps outside of the box because it's a salad. A lot of dudes think salads are for chicks, and a lot of chicks think salads have to have fruit. And I was like, well, I'm gonna take salads and make it like fun for me, and do, because to me it's just like, it's like the painting background, the medium, the fucking white square that you paint on. What's that fucking called?
The canvas.
The canvas. And then all the other shit's the work of art. So like it's just you can do whatever the hell you want on a salad. And then I found out everything I do on a salad base can be done with rice. And I loved when I started doing it, everybody was like, holy shit, this is the best salad I've ever had. What are your dressings? I've never had dressings like these. And I said, well, you've never met the condiment tornado. And then, which is on my list to start the condiment tornado so that I can sell my dressings.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so I started doing individual meal salads. You could call me. I'd send you 3 salads a week, and you would text me, not call me. Don't call me. I won't answer. And you'd say, hey, I want 2 pot-bellied goddess, 3 sleezers, and 4 oh my cobs with steak. Make 2 of those with rice, and then they get delivered to you on Monday. So I started doing that, took off. Health inspectors called me bitching, and then I went private, and then I met with some people opening a giant sort of entertainment facility here in Fenton. That's like the next greatest thing around here. And we're interested in me being one of the restaurants or vendors at that venue. So now Salad Fever is like within about a month away from opening its first offsite location, in which you can order at this venue while you're playing darts or bocce ball or pool or banging your old lady in the back closet, or your old man, whatever you're doing.
You're banging in an F-150.
Yeah, it's all set up to be, done through your phone. You pour your own beers. You get paid. You pay for your beer by the ounce. You order your salad. There's 4 or 5 other There's 4 other restaurants with me, and you can order food from each one, and then you just get a text from us when it's ready. You come grab it. We're in a shipping container outside of the facility where the fire pits are and all the entertainment outside. All that stuff. So it's like a food court, but extra fun.
Steroids. Yeah. That's awesome, man. And I love it. I think it's so amazing that you're doing it. I think it's so amazing that, I just think it's a testament to, Adam and Kelly have been cooking. Adam's wife has been preparing food for human beings consumption for so many years now, that you were able to take something that you saw an opportunity in and elevate it so much, that it's now going to become an offsite actual like business venture for you. So Adam didn't just one day decide he wanted to make salads. Adam is the condiment tornado. Adam has been dabbling in food for his entire adult existence. He's actually been eating his whole life. He just, started twiddling with the leaves relatively recently. But anyway, it's not like he just decided to pick up salads one day. So
I just counted. We've had the cooking business for 16 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It's a long time, and it's as we would used to say how low stress it is, but it is very time consuming. It's hard on our bodies. It's all day, every day, and it's time to do something that hopefully slows us down, but makes us more money.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to go see it. I'm excited for it to open soon. And again, congratulations to you on that. Moving back into the hunting topics, we had a conversation over text today. So we have this incredible opportunity where we hunt private property here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan. And it is recently farmed. A portion of it is now recently farmed. Historically, it was 30 acres of CRP and 40 or so acres of timber. Now the 30 acres is ag. And the first year it was ag, it was beans. Then after they harvested the beans, they planted winter wheat. And then the winter wheat grew and they harvested that last fall and then didn't do anything. Like they didn't plant winter wheat right after it. It just stayed like a shaved bush.
Which fucking sucked to me.
It's shitty. Like once they pick the beans, there's nothing like the winter wheat didn't grow fast enough for it to be like a desirable food source. So that whole 30 acres turns to basically nothing. And then last year they picked the wheat and didn't do anything else. And it was basically stubble and junk. And so it was almost nothing again. So 2 years.
That's what I mean. That's what I hated, because there not only was there nothing in the field by the time hunting season started, because they had already farmed it.
Yeah.
No animals wanted, they were wide open.
Yeah.
There's no cover anymore.
Yep. So, and I didn't know anything about CRP prior to the last couple of years. Now I understand how valuable that front 30 of CRP was all those years, for cover and bedding and access and so on and so forth. I have seen a dramatic decrease in deer activity at this property over the last couple of years, and it is exclusively, in my opinion, due to that front part of the property being farmed. So that leads me to what I'm about to say next is I reached out to the farmer and I said, hello, sir. Just curious what the crop rotation was for the year. And he told me today that they only do beans and wheat, which I thought was interesting. I've never heard anybody say they only do beans and wheat. So he said that this year will be beans again. Now, I'm assuming that means beans, then harvested beans, and then a winter wheat cover crop, just like they did the last sequence. How do you feel about that?
Well, so those beans were up until like December.
No, they were harvested in the middle of October.
No.
Yes.
Wait.
I have pictures to show you. I could show you with pictures.
So then the deer were still eating beans.
Oh, but that's spoilage. Sure. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, because I remember going there and thinking, wow, these are still up. They're dry as hell.
Yeah.
Not knowing that that's how they did it. But yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. How do you feel about that? That it being beans again?
Like I said to you, out of all of the stuff, like if we're not going to get just wild grasses to grow back up, and we're not going to have CRP, I've never hunted our property as corn. And I'm not sure if I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, I'm happy that it's going to be beans. I guess now that you say that, realizing that it's the field is once again empty, or knocked down for the whole most of the season.
I would say 75 to 80% of the season that field will be a barren wasteland, pretty much.
So I hunted the field edge probably, I don't know how many times you even hunted the field edge this year, but I sat along the edge quite a few times, and it was nothing like it was the year before when it was beans. When it was beans, even after the beans were gone, the deer, at every evening I could sit up in the pine tree, and there was 20 deer out there, and that's where I shot the one buck. But they would move from west side of the field to the east side of the field every single night. They go all the way down eating. And last year I never saw that.
So I believe that what you were seeing was deer that were eating the winter wheat sprouts.
Really?
Not beans. I mean, sure, they probably found the occasional bean, but I think they were grazing on the new growth of the winter wheat. All those short and almost not noticeable, I think that's what they were grunting.
I was going to say, because when I had to track blood for that buck, there was nothing but frozen dirt and little tiny stalks of the beans.
And the sad part is, I don't know why it was like that, because the neighbor who did the same thing 2 properties down harvested his beans and planted winter wheat, and it was a delightful sea of green down there. And I just don't know if it was timing, because that would have been nice to have that, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to know what happened there.
So I would love to be able to shoot a buck like opening weekend or the first couple of days on a bed to food pattern coming to the beans. Like the deer love the beans, big bucks love beans. Big Daddy Brett, I like beans. I like green beans. I like fava beans. I like lima beans. I like beans. Big bucks like beans as well. I do think we'll have an opportunity at a good buck within the first couple of days of season on a bed to food pattern to those beans. And then as soon as they go brown, I think it's fucking shitty again. That bums me out.
My thought is, because if we're in wheat to beans, and that's the rotation. Everything around us, okay. The south property was beans, so that should be corn.
Yes.
I think everybody around us is beans, corn. That means everywhere around us is going to be beans. So it's a lot of beans to eat across the street. There's a lot of beans to eat north of us, hoping, yes, that they come on our property gross.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am excited to have a property line that goes back to back with corn and beans.
Yeah, I like that. I like that thought too. The south property, yeah.
So that corner of the south property where it meets the woods, where there's a trail that they take
Yes.
into our property, and I hung the mobile stand up there a couple times. It just wasn't a good time of year.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good sit, depending on wind, this year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because that is such a protected corner from bedding, and then now corn. They're going to feel safe, and they're going to be able to shoot right out into Daddy Angel's road and want some beans.
After I texted you that, I was at my son's hockey practice, and one of the dads is a big time hunter, and he was on the podcast, Jay Zajac. No Trouble with Jay Zajac. If you want to go back and listen to that, he was talking about so I said, hey man, have you ever paid a farmer to leave crops standing? So in my head, we have one little cove out there that I would love to have left beans all year, so that they were like a destination food source come, God forbid we get a cold December or something.
You're talking about where it gets into the walnuts?
Yeah, I would love for that little cove to be cut off and left as beans. So I said, hey man, have you ever paid a farmer to leave standing crops? And he said no. And I said, have you ever asked a farmer? And he laughed. He said, yeah. He goes, I asked a farmer in Indiana one time if he would leave me, or he said, hey, would you be willing to leave me some crops if I paid you? And the farmer's response was, how much money you got? And he said, immediately I realized this is not going to go the way I want it to go. So he said, well, I was thinking about, maybe $500 if you'd leave me like an acre of corn. He said, and the farmer laughed, and he goes, try 5,000. And he said, maybe the farmer was just being an a-hole, but the farmer made it sound like it's actually more of a pain in the ass to leave a crop standing and then have to take the rest of the crop down and take care of the rest of the field, and then come back later and harvest that crop, and then do everything like basically a second time out there, which isn't really a perspective I ever thought about. Have you ever thought about that?
No. I just assume that's there. He doesn't give a shit about us.
No, I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just saying money talks. And if I said I have $500 if you leave those beans up in that, what is it, a half an acre? Maybe.
Yeah.
Give me a half an acre of beans. Don't cut them down this year. Just leave them. Would it be worth his time? Yeah. And he would probably. What I'm saying is, I never looked at the perspective of having to come back to that property later a second time and spruce it up for what's next.
In my mind, I was like, I'll just leave it there. Like, whatever. It'll go and get knocked down and then grow back up, with whatever next year.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask him, because I want to know.
I would love if that stayed, just was never touched.
Right.
Like, because it would be like, I explained this with that buck in Kansas, but it's like it's their foyer. Like, so when they
also known as a staging area.
Sure. See, and that's the thing, is you guys like have these words that are stupid as fuck.
Foyer doesn't mean anything to anybody else.
A foyer means more to what human being has a staging area in their house. No one. They have a foyer. They walk in the front door. They stop.
Everybody has a foyer.
A lot of times they look in the mirror and have a mirror, or they have a closet to hang their coat. So that makes more sense to me for a deer who walks in and out of one large terrain feature to another, likes to have a foyer. They don't want to walk from the outside driveway right into someone's living room. They want to walk into a front door, take their shoes off, have a nice little staging area.
I kind of you're actually getting me to come over to Team Foyer. So I might be Team Foyer from now on.
It's the foyer of the woods.
Yeah. I gotta write that down there.
But it would give the deer an opportunity because we know that they're going to travel. They love to travel through the walnuts. But when that shit is knocked down, once again, it's like they're not covered anymore. So they're, instead of going from the field into this tall grass, and now they don't have that anymore. So it's just one more area where they're going to be less likely to travel. So then, you know, I just think there's a lot. I like that this year it seems to be getting more and more untouched by human hands.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been down there a little bit, but not that much. You know, obviously Ed hasn't been down there doing his normal stuff. You know, maybe I really don't know, man. I don't know what to think about the property that much anymore. I'm curious to see what kind of bucks start showing up. You know, half the fucking cameras are dead 90% of the time.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm not happy it's beans.
You're
I
not.
really wanted it. No, I wanted an opportunity to hunt that property with corn, and just to say that I did, just to know if it affected it in any way. Because if you think about what corn is, or if you think about what CRP is, it's 4 to 5 foot tall grasses for cover and bedding. Like, what is corn? It's double that height, cover and bedding. Like, but also food,
louder.
huh?
But 100 times louder.
I don't care about louder.
Walking through it, obviously.
Yeah, I just wanted an opportunity to hunt it as corn. I mean, I just thought it'd be really great to have an opportunity to hunt that property as corn. I'm kind of bummed that it's going to be beans again. I don't know. We'll see.
I think that I'm also like, I love it there. But I am like, I instantly felt like a pit in my stomach when I paid for points for Kansas and didn't get the, go for a tag. So I can tell that I have like the itch to I love being in the woods where I don't know, like, there's nothing hotter to me than acting like the animal. So like you can say scouting or whatever it is, but for me it's like I said before, it's when you close your eyes and you just, where would I go if I was a deer right now?
Mm-hmm.
I like to do that. That's like one of my favorite things to do when I go to an area I have no idea, which starts by looking at the maps. But you tend to get, if you have that sense and enjoy that, I think you tend to find where they like to go. If you have a large enough, we're limited down, you can find it down on our property, but then you got to cross the road into somebody else's property that we probably, we can't hunt. So it doesn't really matter. But I have that itch to go to different places. Kansas was just special to me because, I found the deer and was very close to killing them. I just, didn't. So I know, that feeling. So anyways,
I really thought you were going to come out here tonight and tell me you actually registered to get a tag. Like, you changed your mind. You're like, no, I figured it out.
I thought about it.
Back and want a tag.
When I made the decision, I was like, you know what? I'll go on there and see if I can do both. If I can go back in there and just like also sign up to get a tag. And then it was at dinner the other day, and I just happened to see somebody say that today's the last day, and I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it today. So, because we were in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna let that be. I don't plan on dying this year, so I know I can go to Kansas again. But I was like, even like, I'd love to do a late hunt in Kansas. Like, I would have liked to do it like when you went, like end of December, or late December. I'm just more keen to wanting to do that right now, and I wasn't last year. So I don't know what it is, but I think I think about those deer I saw there, and I'm like, I think I had an opportunity. I was very close to some deer that I don't really even, I can't even comprehend the size that they were, especially that one I was on the ground with.
Yeah, I believe that.
Um, after I've watched a lot of Kansas videos and these big buck videos, I'm like, dude, I think those bucks were a lot bigger than I realized.
Do you have that
So
desire to go out in September again, like we did last year, or is that too early for you?
no, I do.
Hmm. Just
I
wasn't sure.
I think I'm like I'm definitely ready to start in September. Um, I don't know how I feel about like I'm not as like hard about a deer that's has velvet,
Me
still.
either. Yeah.
But ultimately, if a big deer is a big deer, I'm really turned on with our Hillsdale property because that's where I get my doe. That's what I like to eat.
Yep.
Um, and I'm excited every year there because I know I will get you 1 to 4. Like, what do you want? Without being greedy. But so I almost want to start to seek the bucks elsewhere, which is a natural progression I think that everybody goes through. I think so. I have a question for you that I've been thinking about a lot lately as I listen to different podcasts and what is it in you? How do you describe this idea that I keep hearing from you guys or from you don't, I wouldn't say you're as hardcore, but you say it still. The idea that you don't like hunting with other people and that it's better to be alone.
Uh, it isn't that I don't like hunting with other people. There is a sometimes when I'm doing my thing, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I like to just be unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about, my trip to Kansas when I went in December, it would have been way harder for me to do what I did if I were to lay out for you everything I did while I was there. That would have been way harder to do if you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine too. I think there's
So
a
I'm not saying me and you in general. I'm just saying, as I think about hunting
uh-huh.
and I think about going off and I maybe it's because I haven't gotten to that point yet to where I'm just going off on my own on these adventures. Um, I think that I'm sure there are other hunters that people have hunted with that can ruin that for you
Yeah.
because it's just like more about other things and not about, like you said, being unscripted and going out and just finding the deer and putting the work in and doing it in an unknown area. And not having to be up each other's ass the whole time.
Yeah. I think can you ask me the question again?
So as I listen to like the non-typical or Matt or
Yep.
even you and you guys, a lot of these hunters that they have to like go alone because and there's almost like this sense of like, man, I couldn't do it with other people anymore. Like, and then when I think about hunting, it's like there's uh, I think everything in life is better to share with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you need to hunt with other people all the time, but I think in my mind, I can't quite figure out why a lot of these hunters they're great. Like I said, this is not a knock towards anybody. I am trying to figure out what it is that they don't want to be with other people when they're hunting or another, like, I compare it to you and me because you and I tend to be the only two out of our group that
Mm-hmm.
really are into going off and doing things.
Are you asking me why you don't come sit in a tree with me?
No, no.
So when you say together, you mean when I went and shot my deer in Illinois, why did I want to do that by myself and not with somebody else?
In general, so there was a comment made where you had said, you decided that opening day was about being with the group of people because you don't know how much
Yeah.
time you have.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
There is and then the comment was made like, oh, you're really good for that. I don't think I could do that anymore. Um,
Okay. Yes, I remember that.
so what is it that drives an individual to not want to share moments or this adventure with anybody else?
So for that specifically, that is where you get it to a point. Your objective is skewed to the big buck and only the big buck.
And do you feel like you're being held back by others?
Me personally, or people who think like that?
That's the general consensus. Like that would be the general answer, is that not everyone wants to put in what I want to put in to find these deer. So it holds you back ultimately.
Um, no, I think I think when somebody is in the mind frame of I want to kill a big buck and only big bucks and nothing else matters, literally nothing else matters as much as killing the big buck. And if you think that if you are that person and you feel like you've got a bead on one and I need to go now and do it, then that's takes precedent over everything else. I think it's a season in somebody's life. I think it is a you get there if that's the path that you choose to go down. I think that is just a season in your hunting career, in your life, and I think you will either go there and evolve out of it, or you will go there and you will stay in that season for the rest of your hunting life. Um, for me personally, the way that I look at this is I don't physically have anything that I do that challenges me the way that I used to be physically challenged as a human being. Meaning, I don't play hockey anymore. There is nothing that I do physically that challenges me as a whole human, but hunting does.
Right.
Hunting by myself in unfamiliar territory challenges me in my most primary sense. It challenges me to the furthest point back in my DNA. Alone in the woods, learning the animal with a trail camera. No, they didn't have trail cameras then, but again, I am the apex. Human beings are the apex predator. Um, period. So
You are the predator that comes down with your
yeah. So the fact that I use all the tools at my disposal is just what I have been gifted as the apex predator. So I look at hunting as the ultimate human challenge for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. All I'm saying is that that those series of events that push me to my limit, um being dehydrated in the woods, stung nettle, hallucinations, dehydrations, having to poop, feeling like you're being stalked by coyotes, running out of time, running out of daylight, shooting a deer, tracking the deer, getting the deer out of the woods, reaching out to the landowner, can I drive my truck out there? Like all of those things combined push me out of my comfort zone, writing letters asking for access, knocking on doors asking for access, talking to people that you've never met before and introducing yourself, like pushing me outside all of the comfort zones that I have in my current life. All of those I look at as, if I can do this, then I am physically challenging myself to make me feel like a complete person, a complete human. I just feel like that's missing in my life, those challenges. And so I choose this avenue to push myself. And alone is much harder than with other people, in my opinion.
So then that leads me into this question that I'm generally curious about, or is all of what you just said, is it that better feeling to do all of that and to kill a big buck alone? Or does it feel better to kill a buck with someone that you can call and say, dude, I got it? And you meet up and you can share that moment together.
Um, I think I think they each have their own thing that is different from the other.
Mhm. I think about how you called me right away on your after you killed your Illinois buck,
Uh-huh.
because
Right.
you wanted to tell someone,
Yeah.
wanted to share it with someone, but nobody was there.
Correct. Yep.
So I just, after I think about all of this and I start to think about my future in hunting, one of my favorite things in the entire world with hunting is that text message like BBD.
Mm-hmm.
You
Big black dick.
you big black dick, and then you find that big black dick, and you're holding it, and your brother takes the picture, or your best friend takes the picture. You know what I mean? Like, wow,
You
that
said
got
it, me, buddy.
you're the one that said it.
But you ran with it.
God, I didn't know it was going to go there.
I
But do you
did.
know what I'm saying
Yeah.
ultimately?
Yeah.
Like, I think about people I care about. Like, Matt is someone I listen to his knowledge. I gain a
Mm-hmm.
lot, I learn a lot from him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and this is Mobile Hunter Dojo Matt. And he's just a really great person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he loves to be alone. And I am trying to figure out if it's something that happens in your life that leads you to want to just be alone. It's your therapeutic alone time, which I
Oh,
love
that's all
that.
part of it.
I love that too. But when you and I hunt together,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's still my therapeutic alone time.
Yeah.
I think a lot about like when you and I go to Kansas, and then let's say you go by yourself. Is it better for you to be by yourself because you don't have to drop me off over here, or you don't have to depend on me or wait for me to get out of the woods and meet you? You can just go wherever the fuck you want to go, whatever time you go. And even know that you and I hunt different areas and don't have to do anything together,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's still the fact that like you're still tied to another human being at some point out there. If
Yes.
that is something that is less appealing at that season of your life when you're enjoying hunting by yourself, I
To
don't
me,
know.
it's not that it's less appealing. It's just differently appealing. It's just different. Like the fact that you and I went to Kansas twice together and I went once by myself, they are all unique in their scenarios and they all were for different reasons. Like they just were. And they all I don't look at them differently. I don't look at one better than the other. Um, the same with Illinois. Like the Illinois situation was unique and it was what it was. Like it doesn't fit like this narrative. It just I did it all by myself and I wanted to call and share afterwards. I would have done the same thing if we were together at the same property in Michigan. I would have felt the same exact way, but they were two very different experiences and I wouldn't change them for anything.
Mhm.
The stuff that we do in Michigan, I challenge myself differently than the stuff I do by myself. It's they're all unique challenges. Hunting the umbrella of hunting is where I have chosen to focus my efforts to push myself to my extremes. That's
Mhm.
just and so every little facet of it is its own unique challenge to me. One of them is alone, one of them as a group, one could be with a huge group. I would do that as well. I would just choose to go about my challenging portion of it unique to that situation.
Yeah, and I think that would be probably the general answer is that because you see them starting to hunt, like a lot of these guys starting to hunt more in with like a group once a year. They'll
Mm-hmm.
all do a hunt or something.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there is an enjoyment in everything, but typically it's first and foremost I got to go do my thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how it is. But I'm sure they love sharing moments like with other people too. I'm
Yeah.
just as I'm moving along, it's like okay, you know, as I just keep hearing it like a lot of time. And is that something that will hold you back from getting to that next step in killing big bucks? Is if you can't break off or you don't enjoy or don't want to break off and do your own thing? Um,
That's something you have to figure out. I think that was something that was holding me back is I was only talking to Head and Nate about hunting. Those were the only two people I ever talked to about hunting. And not until I broadened my horizons and hurt myself and started watching videos and listening to other people talk did I realize that I am being really short-sighted about everything that I'm doing with hunting. And I need and want to step it up. And by stepping out of my circle of influence, I stepped it up. And
right.
I want to continue to step it up. I want to continue to elevate myself as a person. But I think, and I've said this before, you need to self reflect. If what you're doing is not working, figure out why, and then change it.
I think what you just said is a very key thing. You use the words your circle of influence.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it is it sort of goes along with what we talked about in the beginning, where you want other people to, you got to prove something. It's almost like that, but you're using, other people have their influence on, they're influencing you on everything they say and do, and how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you get to a certain point, and I'm even at that in a lot of my life, where I don't want any outside influence.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of my, I feel like a lot of my life being told what to do and where to go and how to work and how to eat. And oh my God, are you doing laundry again? Or is the fridge door open? You're eating me out of house. Like there was constant influence. And, our dad is very strong willed on what he does is the right way to do it. You don't do it any other way. So I think once again, for me, I'm always going to be someone who at this point in my life is over that. And I don't want any outside influence. And I just had a conversation with one of my best friends. It was a 30-minute phone conversation, and he was drunk, but it was very negative, very much, I'm doing it the wrong way. Why am I not listening to him and doing what he thinks is right? And I had to just sit there and let him talk, because there's no way you're going to change the way I'm doing things right now.
Yeah.
I have a very specific way that I like to do things, and I can't, every little dent and ding I take that's an influence from somebody else, if you allow that in, it pushes you in one different direction or the other. So then I might show you pins on a map, and you might say to me, I don't love that pin personally. And then I may not go there and search that area because, well, that person influenced me a little bit.
Yeah.
So if I go by myself without sharing that knowledge, I will go look for myself, and it might be the greatest area I ever find.
But also, you could ask me, and you could ask 5 other people, hey, man, what do you think about this spot right here? And then you could take and add all those up, and you could have divided by 5, and you could take the average answer and say, well, and nobody liked this. And then you could evaluate, man, if I asked 5 really good hunters or whatever you're talking about, business stuff, and nobody liked it, okay, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe you haven't learned how to read something on the map. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about you, general population. He's a terrible Army general population. If you don't know everything, you can't know everything. And so if you ask a bunch of people who know a whole lot about or whole bunch about a little bit, you're going to learn something. And so like you were just talking about circle of influence, but then you just shrunk your circle of influence to you. That's not a circle of influence. That's a totem pole of ideas. It's just you, man. Your circle of influence needs to be a little bit bigger, but you need to like kick people out of your circle of influence periodically or just let them stay there, but you just turn their volume down.
Right.
So what is it? Do you want a circle of influence, or do you just want you?
Well, no, that's a good way to describe it too, is because it's not that you don't want influential people in your life. It's that you need to be smart about the influence that you take in.
You said it earlier, and I said it on some podcasts. You need to listen to everything, but take what pertains to you and apply it to your own shit, and let the rest of it just be noise.
Yeah. Well, and I think that hits me different, because I think about back when I was managing restaurants, and I never did. I was always having to be like, whatever they told me to do was always the right way. I was not able to make my own decisions, not able to do my own things. And that eventually builds up to where you like, okay, I've gotten my ass kicked enough to where I think I'm going to do what I need to do to be the best I can at whatever I'm doing.
There comes a point where you just have to do it. You just have to hunt and learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
I honestly believe that the best way to learn is by being out there.
Oh, it doesn't get any better.
So, I say that as I consume knowledge constantly from podcasts and people around me that I would say I've allowed in as outside influence that I'm pulling knowledge from. But like, there's none of that's going to do me any good if I don't get out in the woods and just like do what works for me, which is a lot of times for me it's like letting your body lead you where you need to go. And I think that as you start to listen to what you're pulling, I like to go to those weird spots. And I think a lot of times, and I'll hear somebody say, oh, those are those, if you get to that weird, like to me, if you get to that spot where no one else will go, that tends to be where you can find good stuff. But I think some people are just drawn to that. Like I like to find a spot where I'm like, man, this is a creepy area or it's uncomfortable. And it just kind of sucks me in. And that's one of those things where that's what I want to use more as I move forward.
Your intuition?
Yeah, it's sure. And it's something I think you need to test every year.
Yeah.
Like you got to find, I think I have a good idea of a spot here around here that I like. I haven't been able to get out and scout it, but like I'm pretty sure I'm going to be happy with it. Because it's just something's pulling me to a certain spot. And I don't know, it sounds dumb because a lot of people would say, well, if you haven't scouted it, you don't know shit. But like I said, I'm going to put that to test this year.
It's the only way to learn, man.
But I don't know if anything I just said made sense.
A little bit.
Ultimately, long story long is I think that there's so many people around to get knowledge from, and that's great. But I think everybody's got to realize that everybody's different.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Like for me, I can't be like other people that are great. I want to be that great, but I can't be that way. So, you do your thing, I'm going to do mine. I think it leads back to this, just have the work ethic to do it.
We just talked for like 76 or 77 minutes very seriously about some relatively intense theory behind hunting. Okay. Why did you start hunting?
Man, that's like a loaded question.
What made you fall in love with hunting?
So there's a different so I started hunting because I was very curious about it.
Okay.
And then I fell in love with hunting because I think that I grew up this way. I have a deep, lustful enjoyment of the woods, a passion for nature, and a passion for shutting out every single iota of everything around me and letting the wind blow me as if I'm an animal out in those trees.
You found an untapped source of energy and relaxation, and you were reinvigorated. Is it safe to say that what I just said is true?
Yeah, but I'm also I'm scared of I am scared of water, woods, everything in nature. There's a fear involved because at any moment,
because you're not in control.
It can consume you. It can take you. Like you can fall off a cliff if you're not in somewhere, or you can end up breaking your leg. You could fall out of a tree. You could get eaten by an animal, which are a lot of the things you explained earlier that test you as a human.
Mm-hmm.
There's a therapeutic way about going out into the woods, which you just naturally love being there, but also knowing it's pitch black. You have no idea what's around you that could kill you. And you just have to do it.
I'm going to be honest with you, there's not a lot of things in Southeast Michigan that are going to kill you in the woods. You're
No,
relatively safe. But what
oh,
I
but
was getting at was we just talked for 80 minutes very intensely about hunting theory and process and intensity and doing hard things. But the whole reason that you fell in love with hunting is because you found an opportunity to ground yourself again after the stresses of life, a place where you could relax and enjoy yourself quietly and be part of nature again. That, if I remember correctly, that's what drew you to hunting after going for a couple times, right?
yeah.
So don't ever lose that,
Oh, I don't think I will. I
because
also, you get
people
to,
do.
yeah, because they give up on the work that it takes to have that sense of
Not
life.
even that. They become obsessed with the peacocking. And then that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
They become obsessed with who's my sponsor and who am I, what gear do I get this year? And did I pre-order the latest and greatest? That's what they become obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how many times that guy, and there's one particular person I'm thinking about on Facebook who posts all the time, and he's an absolute fucking douche. And there's no way he listens to this show. And if he is, I hope you know who you are. But he is thinks he knows it all, and he's got something to say to everybody about everything. And there's no fucking way that that guy loves it the same way we love it. There's no way. He loves being that loudmouth douche on the internet. That's the only thing that guy loves. The true meaning behind hunting that you fell in love with, you can't lose it. No matter, but you can push yourself all day long as hard as it can possibly be, but deep down, you have to still love it for what it is and the reason that you fell in love with it in the first place. And if that ever changes, you have to reevaluate what you're doing.
Well, if you lose that, you should get out of the woods.
Yeah. Because then you start to sour the industry. Like you start to make poor decisions and do bad things. And, you know, I just,
I
for
don't have
whatever
that.
it's worth, man, you
I don't
sound
have
like you were asking me a lot of questions that sound like you were concerned with. I just feel like we talked for 80 minutes about the wrong shit.
that.
I don't
Mhm.
know. Maybe we didn't. Maybe it was a good conversation all to lead to this, but I push myself the way that I push myself today in hunting because I love it so much and it pushes me as a human. And if I ever lose that, I promise I'll quit.
Mhm.
And I don't think you feel like you have to keep up with me and the things that I'm doing, because you and I lead very different lives professionally. I have way more freedom than you do. And so
Mhm.
I hope you never feel like I need to be able to go when Brett goes to here or there or here or there. I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to just love hunting for what it is. And I want to be there along for the ride with you. So don't ever lose that.
Yeah, no, and it's really nothing negative at all, and it's not even that as much as you've just got. It's almost very hard to explain for me, but it's this idea of like there's, I don't know, fuck it.
No, finish it.
um, you, I don't really know what it was. It was there, and then I lost it.
Hmm.
But it's not. It's just taking all of this stuff. Like there's just you can get bogged down by everything, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in. Oh, my point was, long story long. I can't be anything other than what I am.
Yep.
So like I can't be. I think it all stemmed from me. I'm just going to be real with who I am in hunting.
Yeah, but
I am never going to tell you or talk to anybody like I'm great at it. I am never going to stick my chest out and um, that I'm just the biggest, baddest of them all. And if you ain't about money, then I ain't into y'all. Um, I just don't, there's so much out there of just like consumption of everything hunting wise nowadays. And I listen and I listen and I listen and I love the ones I love. And then there's a lot where I'm just like, it's like every single person's life is different.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones I really, really care about are the ones that are just real about what it is and who they are. Like, and I think for me, I'm trying to see what it is when I think about my love for hunting. I love sharing those experience. I think I love sharing everything I do in life with close people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went off for a while and I was trying to do some things on my own in my life. And it wasn't, I think I learned that life is about sharing things with others, loving others, whatever, however you want to say it in a like a bonerific sort of heartfelt way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid in hunting that if I get to this point where all I want to do is hunt by myself, that I'm secluding myself to a life that maybe I enjoy it, but like I don't know if I want to have it where I don't share the experiences with anybody. I'm
Why do you
not,
feel like that's going to happen? Why do you feel like you're going to get to that point?
I don't know, because I'm starting to want to go out of state more. Like when I realize that everybody's life is different, you and I can't get on the same page to go everywhere at the exact same time. So there's going to be times you go do things. There's going to be times I need to go do things on my own. And I think as I'm watching people that hunt by themselves, it becomes part of the reason they do that is because you just can't be the same as and on the same schedule as everybody else. So you have to go off on your own if you want to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a sense of me that's just sort of transitioning maybe from season to season of my life and my hunting career to where I'm like, okay, I'm questioning as a lot of my influences prefer to be by themselves in the woods all the time. First of all, I can't go do it all the time off season. And second of all, I'm not sure if I love always being in doing something like this and not sharing that experiences with people I care about. Like, hunting with Head and Nate was totally different because there's so old school mentality where you pick up your bow when hunting season starts. Man, fuck that. You just go to the same tree. It's a good tree. You don't go outside of the box. That's the way they like to hunt. And you're different than that. So like, I think I'm just sort of dissecting everything right now before I enter into this, where I'm starting to go different areas and I have to be smart about how I hunt from here on out so that I do it the way that keeps it special for me, which is essentially what we talked about at the end.
Mm-hmm.
As I ask you questions about what is you say not important, there's a lot of people that listen to these podcasts that consume and digest all of the same information about what's right and what's wrong, but you really don't go any further into the life of a person that is hunting. Like, I don't know anything further about non-typical or Matt or you if I'm somebody else behind the mask of the person that's the hunter. So
Sure.
when I ask you a question on why do you like to hunt alone, that's not something you're going to go into on a podcast where all you talk about is the deer you shot.
Yeah.
So for someone like me, and when there's a ton of other people out there that are trying to learn, and maybe they want to go deeper in what it takes to be a woodsman, like there's more to it than just scouting and shooting deer and knowing the right people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot inside of you that you have to figure out as a human to do it the way you're going to do it for the rest of your life that makes you really happy.
And the biggest part of it is the adventure. You think about going to another state by yourself and living in your truck for a certain amount of time. Like, it's an adventure. And where am I going to eat? Where am I going to go to the bathroom? And how am I going to clean my body and brush my teeth and do all these things? Part of it is an adventure. It's a story that you are creating to then share with other people. But ultimately, you said what you just said, and I'm just going to say this. Yeah, it's tough going out of state by yourself, but there's a lot of adventure to be had out there. And if you seek adventure, I would strongly encourage somebody to not pass on something for fear of doing it alone. If doing it something alone is not something you're interested in, don't do that either. But if you really want adventure and you want to go out and push yourself and do something different, then I think you should buy an out-of-state tag somewhere. And I think you should go sleep in the fucking bed of your truck. And I think you should go figure out how to hunt different property because it's fun and it'll push you and it will challenge you and it will break you. And it's all a great adventure. And you will find it and you will be alone and you can talk about it later. But I, we're 40, man. We're more than halfway through this life, and there's no sense in waiting. If it's something that you think you want to do, I would encourage you to do it.
I just think people need to do it for the right reason for
And
them.
themselves and only themselves.
Right. Like don't try to recreate exactly what someone else says is their way of doing it the best, because I just think that it leads you down a path to fail.
Yeah.
Like I specifically remember when I hear you talk on other podcasts about there was the season where you were getting into going elsewhere to hunt. And I remember saying to you a lot, don't forget about Hillsdale. I always love Hillsdale. I always just enjoy being there, and don't let that slip away. I think that that's like important to me still, to where I catch myself now thinking, I don't ever want to say that I don't love that property.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't produce huge bucks, because there's more to hunting to me than that. And that property is just being out there is special. So anyways, I think
we could talk for 6 hours on that, because I look at it like, yeah, it's a great property. And yes, there can be great deer on it, but yep, I can also get burnt out on it and mean I don't like to hunt it. And I don't have to like to hunt it certain times. If I feel like it's being over hunted or over pressured or we're not doing something right, like I don't owe the property anything other than saying that's where I cut my teeth. That's where I learned that I loved hunting, and I will always love it for that. But I don't have to love the property forever. And just like you said, don't ever stop, forget about Hillsdale. I won't, but I'm not going to pretend that sometimes that property sucks. I think it would be naive for anybody to say sometimes the property sucks. And there's a lot of reasons. It could be the weather. It could be the storms. It could be the amount of standing water in the woods, in the swamp. It could be pressure across the street. It could be lots of different things. But I'm not just going to love it because I have to.
I don't disagree with you.
I was waiting for you to tell me I was an idiot.
No, I don't disagree with that. I just, like, to me, you love the woods first. So wherever you go, I think you should always love where you're hunting. And I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but if you're able to get into a tree, that should be what feels good to you. And if you get the opportunity to shoot a monster, that's the icing on the cake. So for me, I feel like I'm trying to, my journey in this is that feeling of getting in a tree and getting set up and being ready to hunt. That's amazing to me, that I'm out there, found what I found, got where I needed to be, and I've created this sort of well-oiled machine. And then if I shoot a buck or not, I still love that spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'll never say that I hate something, because like there were no big bucks on our property last year. But I loved every minute of every hunt I had out there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying over hunted. I'm not saying hunt that every time. I'm just saying, I think you can make each property special.
Yeah.
While you're out there. That's just my opinion. But it is what it is.
Is what it is. I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay, great.
Unless you had something else you wanted to talk about.
No, I don't even know how. It seems like we haven't been talking that long, but it's probably been way too long.
Been an hour and a half.
Shit, man.
Not too long. But it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
I think we talked about it. That's
Great.
yeah. We got pretty serious.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's as I said, it means there's more to it than just your story.
Or is there?
To me, there is.
That's all that you got is your story.
No.
Yeah. That's all you got. Imagine if there was no television or social media or internet and you sat around a fucking campfire. What you got?
I am more interested in you as a human being than the deer you shot.
That's not talking about the deer I shot. I'm talking about the story. It's the story.
But I'm specifically was saying, and don't fucking take words out of my mouth.
I used your exact words.
The story of like, I went in the woods, I tracked a deer, I killed it, and they're fucking awesome to listen to. I'm not like degrading the stories about killing deer, but there's a lot out there about you killed a deer story.
Oh yeah.
I'm way more interested in the people. What's inside.
Well, that's what I wanted to do with this podcast is get to know the people.
Yeah. So, and going back to what you said about you and I as individuals, I think people connect with us well because of that.
I agree.
I care about the people in the podcast I listen to because of their podcast. I care about them as people. And that shows when you talk to other people. Like, I'm not
smart.
No, I think I slid my hand on the table.
I hope that comes through in the audio.
I'm very gassy. I don't know what it is. Oh, you want to know what it is? I ate out twice. Not vagina. I ate out twice on Friday all day.
Yeah,
and then I have only eaten in restaurants.
Oh.
Ate at the Royal Diner for brunch, and then I just ate at Kelly's Volleyball at the barn. So my butthole is filled with air.
If you had a single piece of advice for somebody who's struggling to find their way hunting, like somebody who is like, you know what, I really like hunting, but I'm listening to all these podcasts and I'm watching all these clips, and there are these two dickheads in Michigan that just had a conversation and listened to them, but like the one guy had a great piece of advice at the end of the podcast. What would that piece of advice be to someone like you who's only been hunting for like 4 years?
I would say to sit down and think about what is inside of you that is going to determine your path as a human in the woods.
Cool.
Not how much you shoot your bow, not how many hours you scouted, not how many chunks of land you went to. I think it's all inside of the person. It's not how fucking cool you are or how big your dick is or how big the deer is that you shot. It's about you as a person and how you're going to build your own journey.
And that journey can and should be different from everybody else.
Yep.
You just need to make yourself happy.
Be willing to put the work in and design your own journey from what is inside of you.
I like it. Why don't you tell everyone where they can get in touch with Uncle Adam? All the ways in which they can touch you.
My website is www.masturbator.com, www.deereradicator.com. My Instagram is flexing the buck muscle. And then, no, I'm just kidding. It's just
LinkedIn.
What's my LinkedIn?
Yeah.
The sauce operator.
You've done better. You've done better than that before.
I'm trying to keep it like not X-rated.
The whole front end of this podcast is completely empty, and I'm not cutting it out. So who cares? Who cares now?
So you can find me on Instagram, ADAM Postal, one word, and that's postal like the mail service. Get Salad Fever, Taste Smile Repeat, the Wonder Bros, Get Yeast Confections, Beefcakes Jim. Is it Beefcakes _ Jim?
Yeah.
Tidbits of me on Angel Road, but it's Brett's thing. I'm just here as a butt buddy. Let's see.
That's offensive. You have several Angel Road video clips on our YouTube channel. You've been on numerous podcasts. How dare you, sir?
I am not allowed.
I've been asking you for 4 weeks to come over here and podcast, and the best I get is a bullshit Zoom podcast with you on a Sunday night.
I am strictly the entertainment here. I'm not allowed access to any Angel Road stuff because let's face it, it wouldn't be good for me or you. My Facebook, because it would be a lot of like tits and ass stuff. And that's not, I don't think that builds out well for
There's already some of that there. I mean, it's all lighthearted at Angel Road Outdoor.
Stroking off an arrow with my rap song. By the way, I texted Eric. This year I'm planning to start my rap career. I am at least going to put out a rap album.
Perfect.
I meant to tell you that. And also I had to call the police last night at midnight.
On whom?
Why did we not touch on this? So
I don't know, because you didn't bring it up.
For those of you that don't know, the rap song in our last, practice video was me. And I listen to those a lot when I'm pooping. And I think to myself, and will text to my wife, these are very good. So I am going to start. It's not going to be as like dick cum sexual. There'll be some of that, like,
Can't help yourself.
Is it Kitty the Dora the Explorer that's big right now?
I don't know.
Cat Meow or whatever her name. Doja Cat. I might be a little bit offensive at times, but I am going to, long story long, I'm going to put my rap album out.
Excellent.
And then, so last night we were watching the television after the kids went to bed. Dark out. It was very quiet last night. All the windows were open, and I kept hearing something. I thought it was an animal, and then Kel goes, "What is that?" And she muted the TV, and she's standing by the front windows, and it's coming like across the street from us, but like a little further away, and it is a fucking woman screaming fucking bloody murder inside of a house somewhere.
Come on.
Like absolutely terrifying screaming and like hitting something. And Cal's like, that's a fucking woman going like nuts.
Yikes.
So then it's kind of creepy because I'm like,
very creepy.
What's actually going on here? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I text my neighbor across the street. I say, are you guys okay over there? And then kind of nonchalantly, without asking, like, are you murdering Tommy, your husband? Or is he beating you? And then I text my other neighbors, are you guys okay? And then I would say, do you hear that? And nobody heard it, but they all had their windows closed. So then we get into bed about 40 minutes later, and I doze off, and a fucking gunshot goes off.
Come on.
It's just a boom. And then, so Kel and I jump out of bed, and we're like, that's a gunshot. And it was coming from the same direction. So we go over to that window, and I'm like, I should report this.
Yeah.
Something's not right. And then you could hear like a guy's voice. So I ended up, just calling the Fenton Police Department. I'm like, I just got to let you know that something doesn't seem right. And I would feel bad if someone gets murdered and I don't tell you I heard this. So, they took a full report from me over the phone and then I could see the cop doing his rounds. But, yeah, fun. And
they never got back with you and said anything?
No, I don't know anything else
down there.
I stood on the front porch at 12:30 last night for a while in the dark and just listened and nothing else.
That's crazy. That's horrifying.
They said that it was probably a firework, and Kelly and I are like, who the fuck lights off one giant firework? Just one at 12 o'clock in downtown Fenton.
Some Fenton hillbilly. That's who.
I was like, it's too weird. And then the girl across the street texted me at the same time and said, I heard that. That was a gunshot. Someone's getting murdered.
Damn.
I'm like, oh my God. So, anyways,
Got to get out of that. You got to get out of that hellhole.
that's how close we are to Flint.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Good for you.
It's great around here.
All right, man. Thanks for
Okay.
joining me tonight.
Yep,
Thanks
absolutely.
everybody for listening.
Oh, yep. Goodbye. Fuck off.
Okay.